we have a quorum, so let me call the meeting to order. This meeting will be video recorded and broadcast over local access channel 18 and through the town website at www.eastham-ma.gov. All right, our next order of business is approval of minutes. They're in that packet, but I had sent them around to you earlier. I didn't have any issues. Did anybody have any comments, corrections, deletions, additions? All right, do I have here a motion to approve?
So moved.
George, second from Rick. Any further discussion? Any all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? All right. What's that, 8-0?
Yep.
Okay, so the next thing is the annual report that goes into that Eastham booklet. And it's the next page in that. And what I basically copied pretty much what we had done the year before, except I added in the first paragraph, in addition to providing its recommended votes on warrant articles, the committee provides a written comment on warrant that are of particular interest. The committee will continue to refine that process to include tax impact and cost benefit explanation wherever possible. That's one of the things that we were starting to try and put in on all as much as we can. The only area that I had that I wanted you guys to think about was, I kept the same second paragraph on the capital projects. I didn't know if we had any more or any drop off. We still have townwide water, still have strategic planning. The heights, the police station is still there.
Rock Harbor.
Rock Harbor?
Rock Harbor I don't have in there.
Not, should you say anything about Nauset Estuary?
Do we have a,
That's still up in the air.
yeah, we don't have, there's no committee on Nauset. Do we have a committee on Nauset Estuary? No, I don't think so.
The selectmen are attending joint meetings with Orleans. There's no committee currently.
Okay, I'll put Rock Harbor. I forgot about Rock Harbor.
We don't have a representative on the Teton Fund, do we?
No, that was not wait a second.
That wasn't put together in that
Yeah, I know.
regard.
Was Pete on it?
I don't know.
Were you on Teton?
No.
Okay. Oh, Peter's here too, great. Full house. I don't know if we have, I don't recall, that was all a citizen.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think it was
chosen
gonna be a-
committee yet?
Have you chosen the members of the committee yet?
Some people,
they
have,
some
yes.
people from the
At a
housing.
meeting.
Yeah, and I believe it's a 9-member committee.
Nine members.
And then two
They're two
alternates.
two alternates,
Yeah, they
yeah.
picked.
They had a huge number of applicants.
Yeah, they had a lot of
Yeah,
that.
yeah, we did.
Almost 30, I think.
Yeah, 30, I think 35 to
Wow.
be exact. So yeah, 11 was chosen from that, 2 are alternates, but yeah, it did. I think it's all members of the public. I think there is obviously a liaison from the selectmen, but there's no other committee members on that, so.
So anyway,
Should Brendan be on here? Brendan?
no, that was a mistake. This is an old one. We have, the signature block
Okay.
got messed
You
up.
fix it.
I have it correct. Brendan's off and Russ is off and Steve is on. You want to be Steve or Steven?
Doesn't matter, but I want to be the student intern.
You want to be the student intern? Is that what you want to be? Compared to us in age, you are the student intern. All right. We've asked, and I don't think there's any interest to try and do that. Okay, I will correct this tonight and send it over to the clerk, and it will be, they need it on Thursday, I think, by Thursday.
We did
Yeah,
provide Jackie a list of 5 students that were identified. Scott Carey, talked to the principal.
Oh, really?
We identified, because we were looking for one for strategic planning, so we gave Jackie a list of 5 names. She was gonna follow up, so maybe,
Maybe some.
I can give an update on that. There were 7 names, and they were contacted, and only one person responded,
really,
yes.
How'd you get that?
Because one of them is for the library, and that person that responded is interested in being on the library board of trustees, and I just sent something to her today.
is it the same list?
Same list.
Okay.
It was
I
for
didn't-
strategic
I didn't know
planning,
that.
board of finance, and the
Yeah.
library.
I didn't know that.
Okay. All right, well, so do I have any, I made that, I'll make the correction in the signature block, which I already have. And then I will add the Rock Harbor project in, right after the townwide water project in the second paragraph.
Strategic planning, one set up.
And we'll be, George.
This isn't a major item, so you may not have to make any changes, but I thought one of our other roles is to approve certain things, like approve transfers of funds
Yes.
and approve year-end things. I thought we had a meeting before the town meeting and did some
There is
approvals.
a,
I don't know
there-
whether,
if there's a shift, because the money isn't fungible in the town budget, it can't go from one column to another column. Let's say I use the police and fire just as an example. If the police have not used $100,000 and the fire department is short $100,000, Jackie can't, and then the selectmen can't just shift it. They need us to approve
Right.
that shift as well, in writing. We have to approve it in writing. We also have there's a fund, I can't remember what it's
We call
called.
it the reserve fund.
The reserve fund that we, the finance committee, have control over. It can be used for unanticipated.
Emergency and
emergency
unanticipated expenses.
And we can vote on, I think last year there were 95,000. I don't
Yeah,
know
there's
what's in
over 100,000 in there this
it.
year.
This year?
Yeah.
And if nothing comes in, like one year, the police came in and they needed new vests, I think. And we approved that expenditure. But if there's anything that's left, it goes into free cash in the next year, if we don't do it. But it's something that has to be unanticipated and an emergency type of thing. So I can write that in here.
if we did, I mean, this is a report for our activity for the current year, isn't that, it goes into the book?
Yeah, it goes into
Yeah.
that
For the
book.
prior year,
So,
prior fiscal year.
and I don't know whether, if we did approve some things just before the last town meeting, whether that falls into the current fiscal year.
Or last fiscal year,
Last
we didn't do
fiscal.
anything in this fiscal year.
I'm just
Yes.
asking the question.
We haven't done any transfers that I recall yet this fiscal year.
No, end of the year transfers take place at the end of the year, that's why they're called that. You can't, typically, it's not, it's kind of faux pas for you to try to make a transfer in the middle of the year. The state might not approve that, because it's usually something you're supposed to be doing near the end of the year. Reserve fund, I do believe we came to, I think in August, with some money to come out of the reserve fund. It was a tiny amount, it might have been for. Yeah, it was for something small. I can't remember what it was, but I can look back in the minutes and get back to you. But you had made a transfer from the reserve fund.
It wasn't the camera, that was the year before, right? The camera
Yeah, that was the
thing.
year, yeah, that wasn't for this current year. I have to look, it was something small, I remember that, so.
But we did, I sent a transfer at the town meeting, and then didn't we do something subsequent to that
So,
in July? or something?
yeah, you guys do the end of the year transfers that,
We do
in
some
June.
things at the
In June,
town
Yeah, we
meeting,
do,
okay.
we do approve, there's a budget overlay account. It's actually in, if you look at your town summary on here in the budget, I don't wanna go through all the pages, but there's actually, to kinda go through it on page 2, no, sorry, page 3, you'll see $170,000 for budget overlay. that goes to town meeting, and that's an approval of usually expense lines that we spent over
Okay.
that were unanticipated, and then they either say yay or nay to those approvals. So, yeah, there's a lot of money, well, it's not a lot of money when you think about it in the grand scheme of our $20 million budget, but, you know, you guys have about 110 in the reserve fund, there's that 170 in the overlay, and then any end of the year transfers where we have a positive in one side and a negative, you guys will approve the end of the year
Those are the
transfers.
ones before you close the books.
Yeah.
Before you close. I can write in, the charter requires the committee approve any expenditures from the reserve fund. Reserve fund.
As well as end of the year transfers.
Are you putting it in the first paragraph or the
Yeah,
second?
right at the end of the first paragraph. And end of the year transfers. Thanks, George. We haven't had that in there for a long time. We'll add it in, so that'll be it. Okay, with those corrections, do I hear a motion to approve this report for the annual report? Rick, do I have a second?
Second.
Mary's a second. Any further discussion? Vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay, 9-0. Okay. We're on to the preliminary discussion of the town budget. All right. We, all of us except for Fred and Art, heard Jackie's presentation to the selectmen. It's kind of an overview, which was really, if you read the overview documents, excuse me, that's basically what Jackie discussed. I had one overview question that I wanted to ask how it's gonna work, and it's and Jackie's not here, she would laugh as soon as my pet peeve, looking at pulling the water,
The enterprise fund.
enterprise fund, on how that affects Article 12, because it's gonna be a different article. And my understanding is the following, and correct me, that the funds received from ratepayers will go into the enterprise fund. And the expenses for running the water system will be in the enterprise fund.
Yep.
And right now, it will be a negative. And then coming on the town budget line, we'll have in Article 12, a certain amount of money to put in to the enterprise fund to make it whole.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, that's exactly, so it would be the transfer from the operation to basically subsidize the water.
Right.
The water
It's a
fund.
free cash transfer.
Yeah, it's a free cash transfer.
Right.
And you'll see, there's actually a page
Yeah,
in
somewhere
here.
at the end.
Right.
Yeah, it's, most of the free cash, again, we're trying to set up that betterment account, so some of that, obviously, they don't have enough funding to support that, so there's a transfer of free cash for that, and then whatever the difference between, you know, operation revenue versus expense is in there as a transfer from the general fund.
So are we gonna go to town meeting with that benefit request?
Yes, yeah,
For-
yeah,
for
we approved, well, I guess if it passes the legislator, I don't see why it wouldn't. So I guess we're still waiting for a response on that. It usually takes 6 months, so it should be anytime soon. We approved the actual setup of the betterment at town meeting last year, and now you fund it in the current year. So we put together funding in here for that, just we're waiting for approval from.
So that amount will go into the enterprise as well,
Yep,
Yeah, that's good.
and the payments back
we'll stay in the
All- all
enterprise,
of
yep,
it.
we'll stay in the enterprise fund.
And salaries are gonna go in there too.
So-
We have a lot.
Yep.
Yes, yes,
Yep.
yes.
Yeah, she's in there,
All of
as
the
well.
costs of the water system.
So it's all direct costs, as well as there's some indirect costs, so, they kinda have you estimate, and right now, these are just flat out estimations, we haven't done like a full in-depth calculation, we can amend these, but it's just an estimate of what, you know, how much of my accountant's spending her time on the water project, and the health insurance of those individuals, and those items are added as indirect costs. Now, the goal is for that enterprise fund to pay for all that. Obviously, right now, we're not at that limit, so. But those indirect costs still get approved in essentially Article 12. That's getting paid out of operating. It's just, it's in the enterprise fund as an indirect cost. You'll see it there. So that's just a movement to show that there is other expenses, other people's time are being used to
Right.
kind of support that project.
Okay, one comment, and this is just Jerry's comment. The current Article 12 budget, there's no budget line for the costs
Yep.
of water going from this building or from the elementary school or the Nauset High School. So that, and ratepayers and taxpayers are different groups. One's a subset of the other, and so those kinds of costs for that water should come, I think, out of the tax base. And they're gonna do that,
You
I
want
think.
it noted in Article 12, is what you're saying?
No, well, at least I would, one thing, change the Article 12 item to not just subsidy, but also reimbursement plus subsidy or something to show, it doesn't, I think the enterprise fund is a great deal. You don't have to now put a water amount in the police budget, in the library budget, in the education budget. You can just put it, it comes out of a payment to the enterprise fund of, I think Jackie said it was $20,000.
Oh, you're talking about the actual use of water, the water use.
actual
By
use
the
of
public-
water.
By the public,
And have it come from Article 12 to go to the enterprise fund. And the reason I would say is, don't call it just a subsidy, call it something else, so it will never go to zero, because the town will always owe money to the enterprise fund for the use of water for the schools
For the
and
public
all
buildings.
all the public buildings.
Are we tracking the metering on that?
Yeah, we have reports for every single building, school, town hall, all that has a report for it, so yeah, we have the usage.
So Kim has all that information?
Yeah, it gets provided to Lori, Jackie, and to them too as well, so I can get copies of it. We actually,
So we could calculate an actual cost?
yeah, we've done it already for Nauset, because there's state reporting that requires us to report costs that Nauset doesn't require, same idea, indirect costs that we, our accountant's doing work for them, I look at some of the stuff, so we allocate some costs to them, and one of the big costs is the water. They're not paying for water, the town's picking it up, so we have to
Well, that
report
was
to
in
the
the
state.
agreement though.
Yeah, no, we just have to report to the
It's
state.
just how it shows.
And Nauset has other expenses that we're, time in our expenses that we're paying for that the school doesn't pay for essentially.
Yeah, the only reason I say that, let's say that we suddenly get a system, the system is, the operating costs are all paid for by the ratepayers. And then, but you don't get any payment coming over from the town for the schools and the public buildings, then it's the ratepayers that are paying for the water for the public buildings and not the taxpayers. And the ratepayers is a smaller group is a subset of the taxpayers. And so I just think if someone, for example, decides, I don't want to take water, that doesn't mean they should get out of paying their share of the town's use of water. That's all.
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
Well, the
I can work
taxpayers
on that.
not the ratepayers.
Currently they are, yeah.
But when it comes to the time when the ratepayers pay all the operating costs and so forth, so that there's no subsidy, then you say, right now, it's not an issue.
Right.
It's not an issue at all right now, because the shortfall is all picked up by the taxpayer. But when it becomes that there's no shortfall, or a shortfall that's $10,000, it's less than the amount that the town uses, then it can become an issue. That's all. And I think it would be just changing the name. Right now, when Jackie gave the presentation, she called it a subsidy. We can think of another subsidy plus something else
Yeah,
might help to start it off, so people understand that it's not just a taxpayer subsidized water project. Part of it is paying for town or public
building use.
building use of water. That's all.
Yeah, okay.
Where it's gonna get sticky is if you guys turn around and start paying down the debt with the enterprise fund. Notice how these things
So-
happen.
Well,
I don't-
that will be.
Then the ratepayers are
So
paying
that
the
won't,
debt.
it won't be, so,
That's
let
true.
let me be honest with you, I don't think that's allowed by state statute. We approve that to be on the tax base. The only way the enterprise fund could pay for that is they would have to transfer money to the general fund in order for us to pay for it off the tax base. So the enterprise fund technically, we couldn't adjust rates and move debt there without sort of some approval from statute, I believe, because of the way it was approved at town meeting.
I mean, I was never a fan of that.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be something we could do, I don't think. We couldn't just move it to the enterprise fund like that.
But the enterprise fund can have a capital fund growing to take care of fixing the water mains 10 years from now or whatever.
Yeah, it's called, in the enterprise fund, that's retained earnings. It's just like a business, it's called retained earnings, so they'll have a negative or a positive balance of retained earnings at the end of the
Still a
year.
fund.
Yeah.
All right. That's the only thing I wanted to raise on the general, but let's go through, I think some of the, it might be helpful, Michael, to go through and show us where there are big, where is it, where there are big changes. You didn't have the percentage changes in there, in this document, but where there are significant differences. Some of them are
The
people
changes are
moving.
on
So we
page
can
3.
do it, yeah.
Bottom of page 3. And I had a question about the way the changes are presented, the overall change, because there are two numbers in there. One says that there is an increase of 4%, and the next paragraph says that the increase is 5.2%. And I couldn't figure out why there were those two numbers.
So the 4%'s without debt, that's just, that's a look at everything with the exception of debt. So we take that out usually because that's showing your change in operating costs, right? So I can, according to state law, I can add 2.5% and then additional local receipts and other things. So we've said, we've raised operating costs by 4%, but if you include debt, there's an additional, 1.2 or whatever the percentage. I'd have to look.
But that's not what the
saying.
sentence says. It says the increase with debt service is 4%.
Oh, it does say that.
And then the next paragraph talks about
With the additional
union contracts,
Oh, yeah, so,
5.2%.
yeah, so that number isn't in your Article 12, the 375,000 is, that would be approved in a separate article. It's not gonna be approved in Article 12, so that's why she's added it, and you see that 5.2%. Sorry, I didn't read what you were looking at, but that's what that means. So, there's essentially some salary costs that right now, we were negotiating union contracts, that's the estimation we put in there right now. And that would actually make its way into Article 12, but it's gonna be approved as a second article, it's not gonna be in Article 12, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay, separate article, but it still all fits within the Prop 2.5?
Yeah,
Even
everything,
with the 375?
yeah, the 375 is a placeholder, so if you go to your town, if you go before Article 12, there's this town summary document, so let me walk you through this, right, so,
What page
What
you
page
on?
are you on, Mike?
page 2,
Page-
right behind overview documents, actually, just
Arabic number 2.
just go to the general government, this tab, and then behind that, you go like 4 pages or 5, well, it's like 7 pages, but there's page 2, it says FY21 budget, something on the top of it.
Yes. Page 2 before.
Or go to the general government.
Mike's got it before Jim.
Yeah, it is, it's right before general.
Before general
Oh.
government.
Like 6 pages before.
Before general government, that's it. A little bit further forward.
Yeah, keep going.
Page 2.
Tax levy?
Yeah, keep going. No, you got,
You got page 6, 5, so you just go to 2.
One more.
That's it, budget summary, you got it?
Alright, so Article 12 is just a piece of the budget. You guys approved multiple articles. Some of this stuff goes into different articles. Article 12 is the operating of the town essentially. So in order to get to that number, there's a summary page that kind of breaks that all down. So the first set of numbers is a cherry sheet, it's what the state's giving us, that's that 564,000. Then there's what the state's taken away. You know, so far we've always been in a negative position since I've been here. It's been that way for about 9 years. So we actually end up owing the state more than we get. Then it becomes your levy capacity. So the page before this is the calculation of the tax levy. The tax levy is essentially your property taxes. We can add 2.5% to that. That's what state law allows us to go up to. We could do less, but 2.5 is usually what we do. It's not a huge sum of money. It's that 544,000 you see in the middle of the page. And then we add new growth. New growth is, you know, you build a shed that now gets added to the tax base. You add an addition to your house that gets added to the tax base. So this is just an estimate of what new growth would be. I will tell you that it's a conservative number. It's very low, as you can see. You know, whether or not that could be higher, the DOR makes us determine a conservative amount for that, so it's usually
So
low.
Mike, that's the sum total of all new construction
That's-
in Eastham for the year.
That's the sum total of the tax revenue
Tax
off of
revenue.
new growth. It's not the sum total of
Of the
new growth.
cost, yeah.
So-
Valuation, it's just the tax
An
revenue.
average tax rate of $4,000 a year, you would say that's how many houses?
Well,
You're talking, are you looking at the new growth?
I would have to look at our breakdown of
30.
it for the previous year. Yeah, it's a lot of it isn't houses, to be honest with you. It's like additions and decks and, you know what I mean? We look at valuation. You've done a lot of new construction in your house that adds valuation to your house, so that would add to your tax
Probably all
rate.
yours are.
I would tell you, you know, it's a conservative number. We usually
Well-
surpass that number every year.
Well, I
but-
think we did like, I think our number was like 25 new residential
Buildings?
approvals.
Yeah.
Okay, but if it's less than 3,000 square feet or under 15%, we don't even see it. But I
Yeah.
would say we did about 25 over 3,000 square feet. So no, it just doesn't, considering the amount of construction,
It seems low, yep.
it'd be very conservative, I think.
Yep.
Do you average it over years, number of years?
Yeah, well, we look back and then you make
Yeah.
a determination on it. DOR, you're required, if you change a number by more than 10%, you have to provide an explanation for it. So, you know, the reason why I think it's low currently, and again, it would, there are some big projects, right? The Purcell is a massive project.
Yes.
That is all new growth on the tax base. That currently is not in this number. Again, we're being conservative. Also, the Sheridan had a lot of work done at the Sheridan. That's all new tax growth, so.
But they only give you the 2.5%
Yep,
before that growth.
correct, yeah. It's essentially, well, it doesn't matter.
Well, you get a little bit more if it was after the
Yep.
growth.
Compound,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, correct.
Okay.
So that gets to your, what's called your subtotal, and then you add things that are basically outside of the levy limit. So for us, that's debt, that's any debt exclusions, any capital exclusions. They also, down here, we have the Cape Cod Commission that gets added on after. We don't have to fund that out of our levy. It's tacked on to the tax rate after determining what the levy limit is. So, that first number, the 22,450 is the levy limit, and then the 27 is our allowable levy with all the exclusions and things. So I say that because if you go back to the next page, you'll see the property tax revenues, the numbers you see there, all those numbers directly come from the page before. So that 27,931 is our levy limit plus the exclusions. The next page then adds all non-property tax revenue. So that's all our local receipts, which you have a report. I gave you the second quarter, I'm just saying, you have a report for the second quarter that shows local receipts currently. What we decide to use from available funds, so that's what we're using from ambulance revenue to cover some operating costs, where we're using it to cover capital costs. Some of the windmill money, boat excise, those things they're used for specific purposes annually, those are available funds. That 500,000 you see there for that capital exclusion is for the police radios, which Jackie had said wasn't put into the tax base. you know, we've presented it as a capital exclusion, a one-time expense to the town, not to be raised on debt. You pay the 500,000 year one, pay for all the radios, and then that comes off the tax base in the next year. It's just a one-time hit.
It never gets in the calculation of the 2.5%.
Right.
No, it would actually be, if you go back to the levy page, there's a line, if you go down near the bottom, that Roman numeral 3, if you go 3 lines down, you see FY '21 capital expenditure exclusion. It would be added there
I see.
if approved. We would just add that 500,000 as an exclusion.
Can I
And
ask
so-
what the library trustees fund is for 24-4?
Yeah, that's your account, it's what the library trustees has for their account. They use it, I don't know what they use it for. I think some of it's to buy materials and other
Oh,
things.
we have a large fund.
Yeah, but we're saying we're only using 20,000.
They have parties?
Oh.
Sometimes you guys have used more, sometimes you guys have used less, so it's just been,
So this is what we used?
this is what we're,
Anticipated?
this is what we're anticipating using that to offset expenses for the year.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so you just, but I see you don't. you
It's
just-
You have
not-
none.
It's not in 2021.
Yeah.
It's only in
Right.
2020.
We have nothing.
I don't understand
Where's that?
why.
Oh, 20, so yeah, I'd have to talk to them then.
Say, you're closing down.
Oh, that's, no, that's good, because, I mean, that would actually
Book sale.
increase capacity.
No, we're
of
doing
all-
very well.
So, let me look at that, I guess I didn't see that.
There's a big book sale.
No, we don't get our money from books.
The other thing is like that CPA fund's a plug, because I don't know what everybody's approved for CPA projects, but that's an in and an out, so it's not really too concerning. And then the cable fund, which we get every year, we use that to offset some expenses to the town. So that, the 33 million you see there is essentially total revenue. That's whatever the state's giving us, which is a negative number, plus whatever's coming in for property tax, plus whatever's coming from non-property tax and the use of available funds.
Right.
And then you come down here and you see, well, I'm sorry, the use of available funds right below it, but you'll see some use of available funds, right? So, we did add just a little bit for library, but that's the state money, so I'll have to look at the 24. Special articles are things that we are gonna, that's the town clerk's cost, the selectmen's cost,
Transfers.
yeah, some other things like that.
Is that the green fly stuff and all that?
The green flag
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
you
yeah.
approve those all as separate articles.
Yeah.
So that's why they don't appear in Article 12, they're all separate articles. So those are the costs for that. The 150 is what I said before, is any budget items we decide to go to town meeting with, they'll approve any overages or things like that in the current year budget to, clean that up. And then there's a total approved capital budget. That gets your total, basically 34,000 plus, 34 million, plus the overlay that we need for the assessing office that they use to write abatements and, just abatements, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah. If they win.
Okay, so that 34 million is essentially what I have to cover.
Are you talking about this, the 33?
34. Isn't that 34?
Page 3.
324.
So the 30,
989?
the 34 is basically the total budget cost for the town. It's all the articles you approve plus Article 12. Article 12 is that first number, 31. So if you're still on page 3, 34,941,746 is Article
So
12.
the estimated middle school and high school numbers are in this, since you didn't have the final budget.
Yeah,
Do you have
education.
final-
Yes, the
The
estimate, no, we don't have final completely. We have some numbers for, what you have
The
there
numbers
is
that are in
It
the
just came in.
file?
our estimates in here currently. They're higher estimates than what's currently in there. So you have the middle, the high school, in the central office, you're missing the regional budget, which holds the health insurance. It's like a $9 million budget. So you have pieces, but you're still missing a big chunk of the school's budget. What's in Article 12 is an estimate. Jackie and I have estimates for a few things: health insurance.
Yeah, not too much, though.
Health insurance, the schools, in debt right now, it is pretty close, but there's still an estimate on what we're gonna borrow for water, which now I have the number, and how that's gonna work out. So, that shouldn't change by too much, but that's still an estimate right now until I get it finalized. But right now, NOSSIT's few numbers that have come in, also our enrollment percentage went down, so the budget will go down slightly for education because of that.
Or a percentage, so even like
Our collective
the
percentage
OPEB
went down.
number will go down slightly to that 83,000.
No,
No,
the
we
OPEB will
voted
never
that
go
as a
down.
flat.
Yeah.
Is that flat? I
Yep.
thought it was not.
No, it's
Flat.
flat.
It's now flat?
Yeah.
400,000 a year they're putting in, and
Right.
it's split.
It's
yeah.
split, just flat.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
any-
split among.
Any capital costs, debt
Alright.
costs, because there is that debt on the windows and stuff,
Yeah.
and operating costs we went down by, I think, 1.6%. Brewster picked up more kids, so Brewster's costs actually went up almost 2%, so.
And we don't know,
Poor Brewster.
we don't know Cape Cod Tech whether we're gonna get.
No,
Up
our
or
enrollment
down.
stayed flat with Cape Cod
Flat?
Tech from what we were told from
But we
October
don't know what
2019.
The other
total
schools do.
enrollment.
Yes,
If
correct.
the total
Yep.
enrollment down, our percentage
Yep.
goes up.
But I think it should be. We're thinking it
We're
should.
close.
Yeah.
It's estimated 3.5% in your budget book.
For the Cape Cod Tech.
Yes.
And they usually come in.
They usually come in
at 2.5
Yeah, or
or
less.
even less, and they include OPEB in their whole thing.
All right, so if you're still on page 3, 33 million is what we're gonna take in for revenue, 34 million is what we're gonna spend, plus that budget overlay, which we need for abatements. And then you get how we close the gap. Right now, we're closing a lot of it with free cash this year. So, we were using 179, and it goes through what it is. Some of it's going to, fund OPEB in the reserve fund. Some of it's to cover the supplemental budget. If we have items, we might not, so that might come out of there. That library funds, the 2,500, is that the state required
Yep.
amount? Yeah, the 2,500 is the state required amount that we need to cover for the library.
What's it covered?
This, we owe
It's
the
just
state
a
money.
statute.
Yeah,
It's just a state law.
yeah. It's a small, yeah.
It's strange.
It is.
Free cash use for the capital, what we talked about for the water enterprise funds, and then 47 is for,
That's the extra articles.
Okay.
It's like, 25,000 and 10,000.
so that gets you, the 1.3 plus the 33 million, that covers whatever's in the 34, and then you have what's considered a capacity. 62,000 is what our capacity is, so what capacity technically is basically the balance from what we're saying we're gonna have to raise in the levy and what's left over. The leftover amount, we need some money there, and the reason why is because, like I said, you give your local, I have to tell DOR everything I'm raising. What I'm raising on the tax levy, plus debt, plus all the expenses, plus all the revenue. They look and they'll say, hey, you estimated 800,000 in beach receipts, we don't think it's gonna be 800. We looked at 5 years and we think it's gonna be 780, we want you to be more conservative. So if they do that, you need to have capacity, otherwise we have to make budget cuts in order to make up that gap. So we usually, as you saw with estimated growth, we're usually really pretty conservative on that stuff. We did raise local receipts a little bit this year, but it's for items we expect, water. We've had more hookups, it was based on a whole year and a half ago, so that number's increased. We also increased some licenses and fees and other things that we
Because they're
thought.
trending up.
Yeah, we looked at 5 years averages in order to get those numbers. So that capacity number sort of needs to stay there. The more capacity we have, Jackie and I end up determining what that number should be, and then we'll take some away from free cash if we use too much in order to kind of balance the budget. But we won't have a capacity number probably any more than $100,000. We'd rather see that money go into reserves or other things.
Right.
So it doesn't just get lost.
That's the $62,000 number?
Yep,
Mhm.
that's what
So,
that is.
so it's a lot less than it was last year.
Yeah, so,
Well, last year it was
Last year-
100 and something.
yeah,
Oh, it's
The year
435, the budget for last year?
sorry?
What's 435?
That's-
435 is
Free
three,
cash.
no, 435 was the budget. Remember we had that massive
for last
capacity
year.
number from?
Excess capacity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we kept that excess capacity there. We didn't
But you
use
don't
it,
normally
but
do that.
I
Well,
was,
Sheila always did it.
yeah,
So what we like to do is keep true to our promises. So if we say to the town meeting, that we're gonna ask you for $366,000 for 4 new firemen, but we're not gonna use it this year because we're gonna get 75% from the grant, but eventually we're gonna use it. That's what happened. So we used a little bit the first year.
Oh, I see.
See what I'm saying?
Yep.
Mike and I have a policy change over the past few years, which is why would we want to have a lot of
Sitting
excess
there.
capacity sitting there when our financial advisors are saying, oh my God, you people, if you have excess capacity, put it in the reserve fund or put it in
Right.
to something that
Earn
is a
something.
goal for you. You
Right.
know, don't just let it sit there, because it goes away from, it doesn't, it's not like.
Gotcha. So you like to keep it under 100?
Yeah, so we like to keep it enough so
Somewhere
that
around.
if something happens, we have something, but not too much so that, and that sweet spot is, when we had the landfill litigation open, we had to keep excess capacity because
Right.
some of those settlements came off the balance sheet at the end of the year. So if we didn't have excess capacity or we didn't have a lot of free cash, we could have gotten,
Yeah, so that's called the recap at the end of the year. Certain items, litigation items and debt, because you have to pay those costs. If you have excess capacity or at the end of the year, if we have, our revenues are a lot higher than we estimated, on the recap, we can pay for those expenses. So that's the other option besides you guys going to town meeting and approving those articles or asking for money from the reserve fund and doing an end of the year transfer for debt and legal. Jackie and I can raise it on the recap, if there's room. So, but, we try to budget effectively so there isn't a need to get money from the recap, so.
and the only time we've done it in the past 5 years since I've been here is, one was for a debt payment that was overlooked and one was for landfill litigation costs.
Why is it that you haven't made any estimate at all for the rental tax revenue?
So that's a good question, so,
Yeah, really good question.
I will tell you, we don't really know, we haven't even been told, we only got an estimate from the state of what we've taken in for the first 2 months?
Yeah,
July and
July,
August?
well, it was July, and then the second payment would be for August, September, October.
So we know it's around 120, because that's what they estimated, we don't know for a fact that's how much it is. So we did increase local receipts slightly for that, but not dramatically, because DOR won't allow you to recognize what you think it will be, they will only let you recognize what it has kind of come in at. So this number down here, so I guess one thing to point out on the summary page, page 3, if you go back to page 3.
You have meals tax at the top there.
Yeah, so the meals tax is actually in that 3. The reason why I was
I wanted to put it out, but
Yeah.
Mike wanted to put it back, so
If-
he won.
local receipts, where is it? I think I gave you a page of local receipts.
Last year it was like 110 though, but now it's trending up again.
Yeah, so the last page of this before general government, you'll see local receipts. So you'll see in our budget, you'll see actually the 130 of meals tax is in the number. The reason why this number says, and I should have probably done this calculation at the bottom, but I didn't. It says 4,241,000 in local receipts. The reason why that's different than the 3,991 is we moved the water revenue to the enterprise fund.
But you don't show the meals tax under
No, because it's,
2021 on page 3 either.
no, I know that, it's in the 3,
The only reason we took it out was to show it to you last year so that we could
We added it.
easily show you that it was gonna go
Okay,
to the
so,
reserve
okay.
fund. It really belongs in that local estimated receipt number, so Mike
Yeah.
wanted to put it back this year.
so to know for a fact, if you add the 4,050,000 and the 130, you get to 418, and that's the number in 2020, you can see that in the 2020 budget. We just separated it because that was the first year we did it, we wanted to show you guys in the summary page, but now it's back into local receipts.
And revenue's not going down, it's going up. It's just that we had to subtract all the water revenue from this
Right.
amount.
250 Avenue.
Yeah, so that's what equals that 3,991 in local estimated receipts to offset essentially general government. So that, I just wanted to kind of show that. Is there any questions on that?
Well, I have a question on the rental tax.
Sure.
How does that get paid?
How does it get, oh, what do you mean, how does it get paid?
In other words, you get the information from the state.
Yep,
Department of Revenue, isn't it?
so it's just like, it's just
So
like,
if I rent my house,
yep,
okay, and I charge somebody $500 tax,
yep,
I pay that directly to the state?
yep, just like meals tax, you buy something from the restaurant.
Yeah, but
they
in
char-
restaurants, you know, I can understand,
Hold on, same-
You're the
same-
vendor, you're the
Same
restaurant.
idea though, the restaurant pays the state and then we get our
State
portion
pays
from
us.
the state.
Okay.
They
So-
keep theirs.
Yep.
They send a little bit
no,
to the
no, I got you, I'm
wastewater
just
people.
trying to think of all these people running their houses, what keeps them, what, I mean, I can understand with a restaurant.
Yeah.
That's an ongoing business,
Yeah.
et cetera. So this guy's renting his house out, why can't he just ignore it and not send the tax in?
You can,
I think
but,
you can, but you're gonna get caught eventually.
yeah, you're gonna fill out a
It's like
state
the
tax
IRS,
return. You're
you
gonna
know.
fill out a state tax return and you're gonna claim
You show
rental
your
income.
rental
If you
income.
don't claim rental income,
So where's your tax?
And
Yeah.
they do have people looking, so they
Yeah.
have
Okay.
people looking online for rental
Okay.
businesses, so,
All right, I forgot about the rental income.
yeah. But
Yeah.
it just shows up. The problem with trying to estimate it now is that it just shows up in this quarterly payment that we get. They don't break it down.
No.
So we normally get a quarterly payment for the hotel motel tax, and now we're getting more. So what, and they don't give us any information, so the only thing we can do is take last year's hotel motel tax, so it's not an exact science. So we're certainly not gonna, we're not going to spend it on anything or suggest that we spend it on anything
Without
until we
knowing.
get a sense of really what it
Yeah.
is.
Will you ever get a breakdown that says,
They're saying we
this
will.
was this was this was
They're
that?
saying we will, but
You mean, per
Yeah,
house
state.
type of thing?
yeah, I mean, there's a way to back in the number. If I know what's, our portion's going to the Cape Water
Yeah,
Resource Fund.
That's what I was gonna say, we're gonna kinda need to know the number if 2.5% goes to wastewater.
Yeah, so I can back into the number, but right now the state is only reporting estimates, they're not giving us what the actual number is. It's just, they're giving us one total, and then we send an email to our contact, and she says, well, I think it's around 120, so it's not really an exact science currently. And I think
So-
that they're trying to figure that out internally, how they're keeping track of it.
and this was a weird year too, because a lot of people had rental contracts, and so I think we're gonna have to go through this
The
whole year.
Yeah.
And then next July, you know, next
Right,
September,
yeah.
when we get the July payment, we'll be able to start to really predict
Let
it
me,
for the
let me
fall.
give you an actual example of that. Last year, we didn't pay any taxes at all, because we had everything booked by November 15th.
Right.
This year, we'll be paying the state somewhere in the area of $3,500 for 6 weeks.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
And you'll get some of that back.
Yep.
But I'm sure there are other people in town the same way.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
you don't have numbers that you can be comfortable with
Yeah.
yet until you get that first full year of everybody being
Right.
in.
It was before anything
So
signed
from the
before July
first
1.
year, what I would extrapolate is that if we go by first year numbers, we might be able to predict 300,000, but we know that it's at least double that.
Yeah.
So, but we don't know it. So if we don't know it, we're not gonna tell you
Yeah, and
guys.
DOR wouldn't allow us to recognize it if they don't have proof on it. They want you to be conservative, because if you do over budget it, and there's a negative balance at the end of the year, we're kinda in trouble, so.
Right.
So, we were conservative, we added a little bit to local receipts, but not really anything. I think it'd end up being like $40,000. It's not enough to recognize what could come in from local, rental tax, so.
So I have a question, what about the marijuana issue? Where are we on that?
Well, there's nothing currently in place, so I can't recognize revenue for
Yeah,
it.
no, I realize that, but I'm
So
just-
we'll
Oh.
start to get revenue on that only after 6 months of operation. So
So
a place
forget-
would have to open up and be in operation for
So
6
forget it for
months.
this coming fiscal year.
And then we would start to get revenue.
Yeah, I mean,
And it'll be just like that. We'll get a check from the business for our portion, we'll get a check from the state for the state
I wouldn't
tax.
say forget it for this fiscal, for 2021.
No, we may start
Yeah,
getting
it's-
No, I think,
You think we'll see something?
well,
I know you're not being sued anymore, right?
I'm not going to jail, but
You're not going to jail. That's why you're
Well, not,
running,
not
that's
for
why you're running.
that, not for that.
I gotta believe, I mean, they've got their paperwork.
Yeah.
I've got to believe that the state's not going to take 6 months to get them to go ahead.
Right, and I think we were, I can't remember exactly, Art, but I want to say that our businesses were about, 6 months behind the Provincetown one that just opened up. So if they're just getting their license now, we should be
I think we'll get some money next year.
getting, we may have one open by this summer, I don't know.
Are you talking
Well,
about
is that
feds?
federal
Can you
inquiry
comment on that?
liable to hold it up? You know, they'd ask you to submit information,
Is the inquiry hold that up? The subpoena from the
a
federal government?
subpoena.
We haven't, I've complied with the subpoena and given all of our records, and I have not heard a peep back.
Right.
But Provincetown.
But that doesn't have
Already-
anything to do
I don't
with
know
the
whether
state
Provincetown got a
issuing the
subpoena.
license.
they all
Did
have-
you-
Everybody
Everybody did.
everybody did who had negotiated an actual.
Host agreement.
Host agreement with the
Okay.
company. It's just our name made the paper for some reason.
So that should hold up the opening of this facility.
No,
Shouldn't.
I mean, the thing they're waiting
not
on is the state
related.
license,
The
that's
state- the
that's
state
mainly
stuff
what
is all
they're,
they're
yeah.
waiting for.
That's mainly what they're waiting for, I would tell you, that's probably the biggest hindrance right now in terms of timing. But no, that shouldn't, from what, I don't think so, we don't believe so.
And do we get anything out of the growing facility?
Yes.
Same, or?
No host, but yes to the, no tax, but yes to the host. Or is it the other way around? I can't remember. We get 3%, not 6%.
Of their
Yes.
nets, gross sales?
Gross.
Gross revenue.
And are they on track? Because they're one of those two people. right?
Yeah, I think so.
They're gonna have-
Same-
I think everybody's waiting for the
Same-
Same
license.
thing, their paperwork, from what I understand last time we talked to them, their paperwork is in.
Everything's turned
Well, they
in.
were building a facility out there though, right?
On Holmes Road?
Yeah, but I don't think it's a new facility, they're really using a facility that's there, they may be
Right.
they may be adding on to it, but everything I've heard from them, and they haven't been back in a while, is that they're just waiting for the state.
Yeah. And there's a line. It's a lot of places that
Sure,
are.
yeah.
So bottom line is we don't know what it's gonna be, so we're not putting anything in for FY '21.
Correct.
But we will get some revenue, and next year at this time, we'll know what to plan for '22, and we'll see how much came in for
I think we'll
'21.
be able to predict something for 22.
Yeah. Yeah, any money that comes in, it will become free cash, so even though we're not putting it as an offset to our budget, it becomes, basically goes into a savings account for us to use in the future, so.
But we will track it separately
Yeah.
because the select board and you guys have agreed that we want to not spend it, so. Except for certain.
We,
Go ahead.
we project 400,000 in
Remaining free cash.
remaining free cash.
Yeah.
What were we on July 1, 2019?
July 1, 2019.
I mean, you're asking.
I don't know, but what
Or,
we
it was right around the same. We looked to
Around the
be
same?
around the same.
Yeah.
About the same?
I didn't, yeah,
Yeah.
it's gotta be close to that, so
It might have been a little less last year. If anyone has their budget book for last year, it would be,
I have it, but it's not here.
I can get back to you with that.
No, if it's.
Yeah, we keep it in the
It's
ballpark.
around.
Yeah,
fine.
it's
not
around,
not a major
350 to
change.
450 is
Yeah.
what we like to.
We're not, it's not a major change. We can ask for that.
yeah, so, and then, you know, it was Article 12, so that's the total general government cost, essentially, well, I know it says general government, total government operating.
Yeah. It might be worthwhile, I don't know, to look at Article 12, which is on page 5, the general stuff, and go through, kind of go through if there is some real large changes. For example, I know that in line 1, you've got some people moving,
Yep.
and some salaries moving and so forth. But it might be good to point out where there's significant movements. And we don't have the percentage changes up there
They're not
yet,
here.
but.
We can, yeah, we gave you
We
the
have
sum
the
total,
overall.
but I can
No,
provide you
yeah,
with
no,
the
no,
report.
it's so, but where it is, for example, in the,
The first line, so,
First
yeah,
line,
we can
first
go
line, let's
50.
go
50%
through.
increase.
Yeah, that's right, so let's
So-
go through, yeah.
Selectmen, right?
First item.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
first
First
line.
item is the addition of Shayna Brogan and some money for temps for all departments.
I
So-
thought you got a big raise.
I did get a big raise, no, that's also in there.
I was gonna say, that's.
Sorry. It wasn't my
That's usually my
idea,
line.
honestly.
Sorry.
She's still one of the, even with that, you would
Yeah.
rank as one of the, I think, the lowest in.
Yeah, I'm still the lowest, but
I-
it wasn't my
I'm up for a
idea,
raise.
I would have worked for less, just so you know. I was under protest on this one. They did my evaluation, so that's when they changed the contract amount. But basically, it's adding Shayna's whole salary. And the temp thing, we ran into a problem with last year because we realized that although in the contracted and engineering services line, I have this temporary staff line, it's for vendors. So it was during the time when we used to pay an agency, I don't know when this was, probably in 1990, where we paid an agency and they sent a temp to fill in when someone was sick. We don't have an agency like that on the Cape anymore, so we don't have temps. So we have to hire a person, and that, according to our accounting standards, goes under payroll, not vendor contracted services. So I had to move it into an account that
Had payroll.
we could do payroll out of.
Admin.
And I put it in admin because I like to, we like to be the ones that decide when someone needs a temp and when they don't. And it's for all departments, not just,
Yep.
And Shayna's number comes out of 18.
Comes out of where she-
Line item 18.
It
That's
came out
right.
of
So-
that.
Came out of
The
line
transfer.
18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a shift.
so there's a lot of shifting, and there is some adding. I mean, it's up 4%, so there is some adding, but there's also a lot of shifting, which makes it confusing, and I apologize ahead of time.
And we're not, in line 16, we're not filling
We cut a position to
by
half.
half.
Yep.
Halftime in the clerk, what used to be Linda's position.
Right.
Correct.
And then line 21 reflects the new person you're adding to the planning board, right?
It
Two.
reflects two new people, so the new planner
Moving Paul.
and the conservation agent moving from natural resources. So there's actually two full-time positions that have gone into that, plus a full-time clerk from natural resources. So 3 full-time positions moved into that.
And
How
there's
do
gonna be
you
one-
anticipate Paul's role will change? Do you know yet?
Yes, Paul is being promoted to the community development director.
Yeah, but, okay, so I understand that.
Okay.
I guess my question is, based on what he does today, okay, versus what he is gonna be doing, I would assume the new planner picks up a bunch of what he's doing right now.
Yes and no. I think Paul and the new planner are gonna have to sit down with me.
Okay.
We're gonna have to work that out, but
Okay.
I think that the new planner will be able to pick up planning board or zoning board
Okay,
coverage if he wants them to, but they'll also be doing some other things. And we've got a lot of special projects out there, so I'm sure he'll divvy it up, but it'll be theirs to divvy up.
and will the community development stuff include economic development?
Yes, we're looking at someone with a planning and economic development background.
Okay.
And that will be in the job description. I'm looking specifically for someone who can either has some experience with public-private partnerships, with assisting with tax incentives and redistricting and rezoning and leveraging.
Lines 9 and 10, there's not a big change, but
So
what are we doing with the treasurer?
So we added a payroll module. We have a,
Or payroll modules?
well, not module so much, we're using Harper's payroll now. So we're outsourcing pieces of payroll.
Also, okay.
We're not we have a payroll assist software program, that's Harper's, but they're also now preparing our W-9s, doing the Affordable Care Act reporting. So there's a fee associated with that. It's about 10 grand a year,
Yeah.
12 grand a year.
Not much.
Seems like well worth it if you ask me, because the ACA reporting and stuff is
Wow.
extremely confusing and it's changing year after year, so.
That's probably in the collector expense? treasurer
Yep.
collector.
Yep,
How
and
will
we
it be
also
in
do,
service?
Sorry?
How long have you had this service?
Just got it done in December.
Thank you.
So we pushed it in December in order for them to complete the W-2s. So, you know, we're still working through some of the kinks on that, but
Sorry, but, you know, you're getting direct deposit.
there's only one employee that, I think, or two employees that are on direct
You're allowed
deposit, but.
without it.
But
There's
everybody else
always,
has direct.
there's always one.
Well, they've been on paper system for so long.
But ultimately, the goal would be, we want to try to get to the point where some departments are doing their payroll in the software, and that we're not having one person input all payroll, because that's what's currently happening. And then it takes that burden away of keeping up on payroll law, because this company does the W-2s and the ACH billing and the things that we don't have to worry about now, so.
Yeah, and the salary jump of 30,000, 32,000?
That's a part-time
New part-time?
person, and
Okay.
the need for that comes in the fact that the assistant treasurer currently there is over the age of 70.
She's a long
So
time.
don't roll your eyes.
No, I just mean her time of her time here is numbered, so she won't be here for much longer, so.
Okay.
I'm not doing a good
No,
job
no.
of this.
Organizationally.
He just stuck you what he thought.
No, I know.
He did. This is the problem we're trying to avoid, okay? Organizationally, our finance departments are one or two people deep.
Yes, I understand.
So when someone who's been here a long time leaves, Mike and I are really aware now, since we've lived through it 3 times, of what it's like when someone with all your institutional memory walks out the
Goes
door
bye-bye.
and there's no one to backfill that position.
Right.
So we're trying to think a little bit more strategically and saying it's worth trying to convince you guys to pay an extra $30,000 this year so that we have some peace of mind and we can get a part-time person in and start to train them on some of the things that Sandy does. And Sandy will be able to train them, which is
Right.
even better, before she leaves.
No,
And she's telling us
just
maybe
asking.
2 years, so we
Just
have
asking.
time. It's just that we don't
Yeah.
want to live through that again, right?
I'm totally in favor of those kinds of things.
Yeah,
I noticed, my policeman's not in here, is he?
No.
Your policeman's not in there.
Your policeman?
So the select
Traffic
board.
control.
No, the chief didn't ask
Speed
for your
control.
policeman. You have to deal with it.
You're gonna have to pay for it
Did
yourself.
anybody
or-
talk to him about it?
Yeah, it was,
Well, Mike and I don't sit down with department heads and say, do you want an extra position? We'd really like to give you an extra position.
I agree with,
That's a
I
good
know
one.
you don't do that, I know you don't do that, but there
Especially police and fire chiefs,
there was
we
a
definitely
commitment, there
don't
was
have
a,
that.
I'm sorry I missed the chief, because the commitment last year
I know.
was, and he was for it, was that the select board would look at it again this year.
well, you'll be meeting with him.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, when we.
And this year, he was kind of fighting for the animal officer so that he gets his officer back.
So what are they gonna, is it Andy they're gonna move back into?
Andy gets to be a real police officer again.
So, you know,
There is a roof.
she can go do
That
traffic
doesn't
detail
mean
when
he's
she's
gonna
not
be out
chasing
there on Route
dogs.
6.
Instead of dealing with animals.
Doesn't mean they're gonna be, I'm sure there's.
She's a she. She's a
I'm
she.
sure there are.
So she's not gonna be the animal officer anymore?
No.
No,
She'll be a
I'm sure
full-time
she
police
wasn't
officer.
spending
Yes.
40 hours a week on
There will
animals.
be no animals.
no.
We have an animal.
We
It's
have
in,
it.
it's in the
It's in
budget.
there.
It's new.
Yeah,
It's
All right.
split with
This was
Wellfleet.
shared with
All
Will.
right.
I gotta call it
I'll
chief.
split with Walt, okay.
But it says, is it a police officer?
It's shared,
Yes.
it's shared, right?
It's not a police officer that we send to the police academy, but we do have to invest in a lot of training, and it lives in the police budget, and it responds to dispatch, so it is police-like.
And
I thought I read that was shared between us
It
and
is.
and
Well-
Wellfleet.
Yeah.
It is. Yep.
And it's a very experienced officer in
Wellfleet guy
Wellfleet
checked
who
the
knows
speed.
East Hammond is doing some response here now, so
Love to get
it's
his
gonna
phone
be
number.
good, yeah.
We expect fuels to go way up?
But can I ask one?
Who's to,
Can I-
Yule, where
Could be
are you,
Yule.
like Yule
Hold-
time?
Hold on a second before you
Go
get it. So how many hours of or time do you think Andy spent as an animal officer? Was it 100% or?
No, I think it really depended on what was going on, so I think there's times that she spent,
Just
20
had her
hours a
come in
week
And
and
she's
s-
been out on patrol, so she.
yeah, and sometimes it was 5 hours a week, I'm sure. It was just different. But this person will be picking up all the animal inspections, so barn inspections and things like that. So they'll be routinely busy. Because we've done the new animal bylaw, which
This
is,
could be your swan song on the finance committee. Because you have the same issue I have,
So I
yeah,
know
to
what
get
the
that
fuel is.
additional police officer out there on Route
I just
6.
want people to slow.
Slow down, put stop signs up.
maybe we could get more of the sign.
Every time
bigger
they go
signs.
by me at 50 now, I just lean on the
I
horn.
wanna go fast.
I say, what the hell?
Well, Art's taught me, I
He
drive in
gets
the
in
left,
front of
I
it.
drive in the left
Oh
lane.
my God, we're taking a right turn into nowhere right now.
Oh, you're there.
All
I
right.
know. Go ahead, let's go.
All right.
So fuel budget's
Fuel,
up for
23.
We add money for the change in price of fuel. The other reason why it's up is because in the past, our DPW director had recycling,
You moved your own.
basically they came and picked things up. Now we truck it off and we get the
fuel.
revenue in addition to, we gotta pay for the
Yep.
fuel.
Yep.
But it has increased revenue dramatically, so, I can't remember what the number was.
But I saw a lot of places in the budget where you moved fuel to the bulk fuel.
Yes.
Yeah, we did,
We're
yeah.
really
But
trying-
There wasn't a department budget, right?
Same
Yes.
thing with buildings, you're gonna see
Yeah.
some consolidation there.
Yeah, energy has moved from department budgets into that one thing, but with that mostly is an addition due to the transportation costs and the estimated cost of fuel. We've always gone over that budget, so we've tried to right-size that budget this year. So that's what that is. The police expenses are down because we took cruisers out of there. There is one cruiser
It's going back.
that's in the capital budget, but it's not in the operating budget, so, I guess that
But
number
the
is.
capital's the same.
What?
Capital's the same.
No, it's in your capital budget, not in
Not
operating
this
capital.
Work that one.
So, it hits operating capital in the second year, it's really confusing, but we're gonna try to fix that next year.
Yeah, we
This
really
year-
do.
This capital that's in line 27 is what?
Which one?
Line 27?
27, that's the remaining payment on the admin vehicle,
Yeah,
as
it's
vehicles.
vehicles.
The safer thing?
It's-
You'll see it in the budget.
Chief's vehicle, it's
Oh.
the last payment on the chief's
Yeah.
vehicle. So we lease to own them over a 3-year span, and then so the first year you approve the capital, the full amount, and then we put it in here to basically pay it, so.
And we have 2 chiefs, 2 deputies, so 4. We have a lot of vehicles.
The fire salary's up because the safer grant's down, so that's pretty much representative of what that is. Some of the expense are for the addition of the training, right, in fire, so we added money for
16,000.
training in there. Capitals because I believe one of the admin vehicles came off, so that's why that's down. Some other big items here, not much on that page.
And overall, you're down a whisker, which is
Yeah.
good.
The plumbing inspection, 33, that's a joint inspector, right, with multiple towns?
No, no.
But
I thought
for
the
3
plumbing
towns.
inspectors.
You
He
mean the
works,
current ones?
he
Yeah.
works for other towns, both of them are dedicated to us on certain days of the week.
So that means that X percentage of their salaries are paid by us, and Y percentage are paid by the other towns. Is that right?
Evidently, but they both have private businesses too, so.
So
But this is
they're
all
an
free.
independent contractor?
They're contractors. We
They're an
just-
independent contractor.
We pay them as part-time employees, but they're,
But not the building.
No, not.
building inspector is a full-time position.
Yeah.
And that's it's 40 hours, it's full. I've been trying to get him to put more hours into part-time building inspector so that we can get, some backfilling between the housing and Willie's and other stuff right now. He's just absolutely slammed.
The school, is the
These
next-
are all the estimates.
Yeah, all estimates, some of the
No.
numbers are, yeah, for the, well,
East
the
Tam.
elementary school
The
isn't.
only-
The rest are fairly, pretty much estimates at this point.
Yeah,
Some of the numbers came down, like I said, but, not dramatically, so.
what did we just get the other day? Did you give them the ones? we
Yeah.
just got?
This stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
they have the middle,
We have
Middle
some
and
high
high.
school and the
That was
central,
this is the
central.
book, right? Well, it's in my,
No, it wasn't.
One,
Yeah,
one
it's the
thing
latest
on
electronic one.
the schools, Jackie, when, so there's a suggestion to the selectmen, last year, they were here just before the school board meeting, and they said, well, we can't tell you what this budget is because it has to be voted on. It would be nice to have them come after that. Now, I don't know what his schedule is, after
The
the
school
committee
committee votes on.
on the budget, so we can actually
Okay.
see it all.
But Michael, this isn't real.
No, that's real
That's the
number.
real
Those are
stuff
real.
that they
But
brought.
I have that in my electronic one.
Yeah.
The numbers I have in
Yes,
here
sir.
are.
Yeah, so if you,
I didn't get it.
I mean, I'd have to show you how it's calculated, but there's a total for the high school there, and then it's multiplied by our percentage. And I could give you the percentage, I just got the percentage.
But those
Yeah, what is
enrollment
our
numbers and
percentage?
everything I saw in there, they're all accurate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're all real.
yeah, but the number we pay is our enrollment for high school, middle school, plus charter, and some, one other is in there, I can't remember. Oh, choice is going out, the choice is
Total
going out.
966.
Yeah, but that's not how they generate the percentage that we pay, so I'll give you that sheet, I just got
I
it.
think that's
very strange.
194 or something like that. Total East Hampton students,
Yeah.
I think was
Yeah, but-
194. Not including elementary.
Yeah, correct. I'll show you, I'll give you that calculation once I get one. I just got it 2 days ago, so I'll send that to
Okay,
you.
so it's not in there.
No, no, so you couldn't figure out how we get to our number without that percentage.
What you're saying is that East Hampton's percentage is going down this year.
Yes,
little.
by 1.6%.
It's better than going up a scope.
It
Yep.
is.
Yeah,
It adds up real quick.
So those are the education numbers, the DPW salary, I don't know why that's down. I guess I'll look.
It's down because we moved people.
good.
So we had a half-time position that
Oh,
moved,
that's right.
yeah, moved to the transfer station.
And
And
then
you
the whole
took the
thing's
water
out, 'cause
off,
your water
so-
out. You
Yeah,
took the water
and we
out.
took water
Yeah.
out.
Capital,
So the 290
It
is
looks like
is
we're
white-
cutting the
was
deep.
white water and that, right?
capital, you know, we bought a front, I think that's the front end loader. Is
Yeah.
that what that is?
Yeah,
Which
there's
was on
three,
capital.
there's three vehicles that.
Yeah, we purchased
Front end loader, the cheap.
transfer
something
station
ton
truck.
Did you get a liftgate truck?
No, like-
No.
So one, you know, it's got a thing in the back where you can lift up.
Oh, I don't know, I'd have
We
to
have
look at the
special forks for
details.
some trucks that it lifts.
So that's what that is, those were approved in prior, but now we're paying off the next year, that's why it's up. Waste collection, do we add a part-time now in
Yeah,
waste?
we
Yeah.
moved one from
DPW
DPW
to
to.
waste, that's what we did, yeah.
Put the expenses down 40,000?
The expenses
54.
down. Yeah, what line?
Yeah, well, it came out of the C and D, the C and D is way
47.
down.
Yeah,
Down, but
that's-
that 40,000 is coming out of the C and D.
Correct.
I don't know what he did over there, but I'm happy about it.
Isn't that great?
So
It's
that's,
100 and some
yeah,
odd
it's
thousand.
supposed to
They're
reflect
honest, yeah.
actuals that we expect that the number to go down, so. um,
Silvio's doing his thing.
He is.
The water operations, as we talked, that's now in the enterprise fund. The health and human services, there probably isn't much to discuss there.
Al keeps recruiting veterans, so we keep getting more of them.
Yeah, the council on age capital is a van we had approved 2 years ago. Now we're actually purchasing that van, so that's why that's in there. Yeah, the veterans are up. That's a reflective of
Now,
actuals.
who owns the van? Is the town or the,
Town,
That will be our van,
it's
yeah.
all,
Has-
they're all
has it
ours
always-
now.
has it always been our van? I mean, Mary keeps telling me they own the van.
They didn't buy it, they're.
Nobody-
Recruiting
nope.
veterans, what do you mean by recruiting veterans, just curious?
Having them move to
We
East.
haven't moved to East Ham now. We,
I'm serious, you don't think I'm serious? These-
So someone, if you're already living here in your event, it doesn't help you.
no,
Of
we.
course it
we-
helps you,
we
but
pay for
it's
those
just that
stuff,
you, the more veterans we have that are receiving services and,
so. Yeah, that number's
I don't
increased,
receive.
that number's increased for the last 3 years.
Receiving
so.
services, now I guess.
It's like the
and
census.
it's all Al's
Bureau.
fault,
Yeah.
basically.
We're good.
The library salaries are up for Sunday?
Monday,
Monday hours?
Monday
Monday hours. That's what that,
10 to 6,
that's what that represents.
$26,000, it's well worth it.
So total library.
Well, we're-
Our little booster.
That's the biggest
Mary says pay.
cost increase in
Has
the whole
that
budget.
started?
No,
All
it won't,
service.
no, it won't start until after we
Said
get this
percent,
passed.
6%, I'd have to look that.
July 1.
Yeah, it probably is, so we added,
July 1.
we added employee time for a whole additional day of
The library,
services.
yeah.
Why do
So,
we do that?
We're planning on opening 7 days a week,
yeah,
because we
Because
have,
the community is
the community
demanding
wants it. We had 23,000 people go through our doors in the month of July. 23,000.
I wouldn't mind it was closed, I would think.
Well, now we're gonna be open on Monday. If
I
you,
would
if you,
think
if you, if
That's
you
what I
approve this,
say.
you
I
can
would
go on
think-
Monday.
Well,
We just
that's-
saved 6%, it's the biggest service increase in the.
No, it's not all just Monday. Part of it's 10,000 of it is just normal increase in salaries.
well,
No, well, no, we don't have any real, well, I think it's mostly the Monday hours.
yeah.
No, what I'm saying, the people that are there are getting a normal increase in.
Yeah, but that's not in this line
Oh, it's
yet.
not in this one? Okay.
No, those salary increases aren't. in-
Okay, so if the 26 is about what it's gonna
Are they-
cost us for the
Yeah.
Mondays for a year.
There's only a few that aren't not union. The beach and rec is because we took position halftime, so that's why that salary is down.
Yeah.
Expenses are up there. Capital is because we paid off a truck for there.
How do our recreation programs compare to the rest of the IRP?
In terms,
In terms of spending money,
Scope and
we
spending
spend the
money.
least.
Yeah.
We're very, it's one
I
of
know
the,
we do.
one of the few areas we're really underfunding. We have a couple that are over, a couple that are under, and most are right in the range. But you'll see the chart in my budget presentation, you can look at it, we're.
I saw that, I mean,
Yeah.
it was, I reacted to that.
Yeah.
And I'm not against the library, I'm just saying this is way.
Better not be.
I'm saying this is way under.
Yeah,
We're pumping money into the library, shouldn't we be considering pumping that money into other recreation?
I think we should be, and I think we are thinking in that direction, but Christine is being very cautious and strategic, so I think it's just a matter of time. I think we'll be adding some more recreation services, and I also think that if the Tea Time Committee continues to talk about a community center, then that's gonna, start to absorb her. Really, the problem is she doesn't have a lot of options in terms of places. She's doing beach yoga, but but the facilities are a little lacking. Although she's doing more and more at the elementary school and at other places, so.
so after beach and rec, you get to your debt line. This number is gonna change, like I said, I guess, to kind of go through things. Purcell's land purchase and the Ashantino land purchase on the CPA, that's all paid off for. We added, one of the water bonds from the previous year, now we're paying principal on that, so that's on here, as well as the estimate of what we're gonna borrow in February, is that what I'm thinking? Of what we may pay down for principal for that in February. That number is gonna go down slightly, I estimated more money than we actually were gonna borrow, so,
This will change before
Yeah.
town meeting.
we could talk about that if you want, but it's pretty self-explanatory what it's paying for, I tried to, list it out by item. And then comes, the unemployment, county retirement, which the retirement number is,
Actual.
yeah, and then the rest are all estimates, but, we'll wait and see what the health comes in at.
And the bank fees are primarily bond,
Estimating for the
bond related.
insurance.
What?
What are you estimating for the increase in the health insurance this year?
6.5%, 6.
Six.
We'll see. We've been told it's not gonna be that, but we'll have to wait and see, so.
And when is the elementary school paid off?
24.
24.
We're getting there.
24, yeah.
2024?
Yeah, I believe it's 24.
And that's $400,000.
You had a question.
Yeah.
So the line 90, is that mainly associated with bonding and?
Borrowing, yeah.
those type
Well,
of
those are the
fees?
fees, so most of those are MCWT fees.
Right.
They charge us an administration fee, so that's that, and then there's some bonding fees in there.
So we did, even though we get a low rate, we don't get a freebie on the rates.
No.
No,
And then we
most-
have to pay bond counsel anytime,
Most of that,
That's all.
yeah, most of that cost is MCWT. If you go, actually, if you go,
That's, we don't, that's not reimbursable, right?
no, but if you go to
No.
page 113, behind the other expenses tab, there's a breakout of debt, and it shows you the bonding fees for the water on the far right side. So just to give you an estimate, that says 172, well, 160 of it is the water bonding fees. So,
yeah.
Another question, you have here the septic betterment. We talked about providing monies for folks to hook up for water.
yep, so that money, as I was saying, we have $100,000 in the enterprise fund to start
Oh,
a
that will
betterment
be-
fund.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, oh, 100,000.
So it's always a two-step process when we do legislation. So whenever we come up with an idea like that, we have to first have the idea approved, and then it's actually on the governor's desk as we speak. Our town council got a call today from the governor's office, because the DOR is questioning whether it's the best use of taxpayer money. I'm like, oh my God. I had to explain, it's a loan, and they're paying back with interest, so we're not giving anyone anything, we're,
Helping us.
yeah, we're paying for them to hook up to public water, but then we're getting the money back with interest, so how can that hurt the taxpayer? So this year, we'll be funding it with a transfer article, so at town meeting, there'll be an article to transfer money into that fund, and then Susan and Mike will have to develop a process for the betterment.
And how many are we gonna take a year?
I don't know, I just thought we'd start with 100,000
Yeah,
and
right.
see what, and then we'll
If the
run
average
a
co-
waiting
the
list if
average
we need
cost
to, we'll
is,
have a waiting
I'd
list.
say $4,000.
Anywhere from 4 to 10, I think.
Probably do
To
20,
hook
get
up.
25
Yeah.
hookups.
And not everyone will want to do it because it has a statutory interest rate of what, 5% or something like that, so
Yeah.
it's higher than
It's high.
you can get from a
Get your own self.
home loan. But that's the septic loan programs like that too.
No, that's 5%?
Yeah. But it's 5% when the interest rate goes up to 13% too, if it ever does.
We'll see if we have to.
So I don't know, but that's how we'll do it. So we'll fund that and then,
We'll fund it each year and try to keep it.
exactly. And hopefully, you know, when people start paying money back, then it'll just,
Use that for the,
yeah.
So that's an
Okay,
outline.
Thank you. Now,
You're exhausted.
Did you find out, did anybody get an extra set of the school numbers?
yeah, Art doesn't have one of these.
Was there an extra set down there?
Both the middle and high school you need?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he doesn't have any
the
of them.
packet that was.
Didn't get any.
But it's, but it's, this is in the.
Did you get the
Yeah.
stuff with the
Yeah, but
I think I saw
agenda?
this.
Yeah, it's in the electronic version.
Yeah, but they didn't get that.
What's in the, I can make a copy.
He didn't.
That's
he didn't
right, I
get-
just thought there might be an
missing-
extra one on the table, because I
I
didn't
don't,
notice.
I have it in here.
Do you want to give your, yours?
Oh,
you
don't have
didn't
that
get
one.
one.
He didn't have it either.
Unless it's in here. Is it in this book,
Oh,
Michael?
You must
No,
have printed
no,
that.
not yet.
Thank you.
Yeah, it should be in your book, she must have posted it.
So you want, have you written in your book? Or I'll just give you my book?
Anybody need
No,
a
it's
copy?
not in the book.
Annotated.
No,
It's
it
in
might
this-
be in his because
take a
he hadn't
copy,
had his
Oh,
book yet.
it might be in your,
That was the preliminary.
No.
Education.
It's not gonna be in yours, it's
Not
gonna be in
yours.
Fred's.
It's gonna be in the NOS, under the
Oh,
NOS.
this is preliminary, I don't know, we might have an, we have an updated actual
Oh,
number.
He's got it.
Yeah,
Yeah, she updated the book. for
Yeah,
us.
sorry, it's a new book.
She updated the book. for us.
isn't that good?
Well, because I wasn't at the
Lori.
meeting. And I remember Lori said I added
She's
some
great.
information. I don't remember what she said. That's good, thank you.
All right,
So can I just talk about scheduling? You
Yeah, that's what we're
do
gonna
want
do.
to do the school,
yes.
and do you want to do that jointly with the Board of Selectmen like we've done in the past, or do you
I
want
think it's
better?
better for the departments and the school and so forth to have to come only once.
Okay, so,
You know,
so the select board want to talk to police, fire, DPW.
yes.
They want me to go over the 2 special articles, because they have to make decisions on that.
And they want to
They
do
wanna do
the
that.
And they
education.
want to do the schools.
Schools.
What about health? No,
What?
health?
Health ed,
They don't want to talk to
I
health.
have to look at that. I mean, we sent a couple of questions. and-
Yeah, she sent it one.
And she sent a response that I sent to everyone. The only thing that she didn't, and she's not back till the 16th or
You're talking
something.
about,
She's
you're talking about Jane?
Oh, she's here,
Yeah.
Jane? I thought they said she wouldn't be back till the 16th. She didn't respond to saying what naming, if there were any ponds that had no public access that we were spending money on.
Oh, okay.
She just said if there is public access with beaches, we do this, which is great. But I think the question is if, that might be a policy question, that if we have a pond that we're spending taxpayer money on where it's all private land around it.
Do we have any ponds
I don't
that are all
know.
private land?
I have
don't
no
think so.
idea. See, that I don't know.
I don't think
That's the
so.
only
I
question.
can't think of them.
Well, no, but I mean,
Schoolhouse Ministers has a landing.
Has a landing.
So little
Well,
tiny
that's fine.
landing
99% is-
yeah, little tiny
But as
landing.
long as you can, if you can use it. I mean, I came from an area where there was a lake with a dam, no public access, and they wanted the
Yeah.
county to pay for it. There was that was an uproar. So it's just, but there may be reasons because
I'll
you don't
check on
want,
that, but I don't.
you don't want the pond to degrade so much that therefore it hurts other,
Well,
environmentally it hurts other things, so.
It's tied into the water table, so.
Yeah, that's right.
But I don't know if there are any, and there's nothing,
Shana
we're
might
not spending money on any ponds.
It doesn't look like there
other than
was,
CPA
Schoolhouse
money,
there was a
Minister.
lot.
but only CPA money.
Right, yeah.
Is there access
So
on
when you
Depot
had
Pond?
Alum treatment and all that coming
The
out of there.
library,
Comes out of CPA.
go right down on the right
That's a
side
public-
of the building.
So there's,
So is the permeable
There are
barrier,
lots of people
that's
do
not
that.
coming
Lots
out
of
of
people.
No,
CPA.
that's coming out of
Unfortunately.
They park in the library.
They
Yes.
leave their trash and they bring their dogs and,
didn't know that.
So Jackie, is the monies for some of the nitrogen mitigation in this budget, like the permeable barrier and that kind of deal?
Yes, it's in the capital budget. There's $162,500 for next year.
in front of the
To
building.
do
That's
the barrier
wastewater.
primarily, if it gets.
Well, no, the barrier money, so what we are cruising on for this next year is last year's money. So remember, we did a borrowing of 950,000.
Correct.
We still have 800 left.
Oh, okay.
So she's still,
The
we're
barrier money was, how much was it cost now?
350 something, yeah. Middle 350 somewhere. Basically, we've had trouble permitting that through the seashore, so it's back and forth. It's moving, but it's just moving at kind of a glacial
Well, it just would be
pace.
good, I mean, looking at where they want to put it.
Right.
It would seem to me that getting it outside of the primary seas would be beneficial to all of us, them and us.
It wouldn't, because again, it's that thing about where luckily, the landfill exploration of the water and of the 1,4-dioxane and how it was moving has really helped us in this pond and permeable reactive barrier studies, because we do have really good sort of longitudinal at this point science that talks about how things are moving at that level. So they're still trying to figure it out though, like where the
But it
best
looks like
place
they
to
want to
put
put
it.
it in that island that separates the
Yeah.
parking lot from Dover Road.
From the road,
Right.
from the north.
So in the summertime, it's just a tough
But the
place
problem,
to be, you know?
like they also want to put it between the seashore bathrooms and the pond,
I
in
didn't
Salt
see
Pond.
that part.
Because that, we
Yeah.
know that's a
But that's a
nitrogen loaded
source,
source.
that's
So,
The,
but we're still, so when we met with Jane to do an update, and she had her first CPC meeting, capital projects meeting for wastewater, we talked about trying to use last year's money and what additional revenue, what additional funds would she need for 2021, and she came up with 162,000. We're still honing that figure, but I'm, confident that
That's over and above the 800. so-
Yes.
And
So it's kind of like one year of wastewater funding is lasting 2 years right now because we're just moving slower than we thought we would. Which is fine with us because it gives us a chance to build up that fund, the water fund, and have more of the tax go into that fund and develop regulations and,
But there's 100,000 in here.
166, yeah.
I hear the rumor that Silvio's gonna start on the new road, off Cable Road.
Gossip Lake Beach Road?
Yeah, the new road is gonna go back.
Yes, behind the.
How, financing of that, how is that, is that just out of, he's taking that money out of his regular budget? Did we allocate additional money for it, or is the Seashore paying for it, or what?
No, but it's really good, right? It's really good that I haven't asked you guys for money.
Who's gonna
I know,
own- who's gonna own the
I'm just
road?
trying to, is it just
So the
covered?
one beautiful part of Neil Andres, if we can go back over Neil, is that for some reason, he decided to save his Chapter 90 money. So by the time I hired Silvio, we had a little war chest of saved Chapter 90 money. So Silvio has parlayed that into a plan for a lot of road repair. And Nauset Lake Beach Road is gonna be paid for out of Chapter 90 money because it is gonna be a public road, but it's gonna be done mostly with labor from our guys. So we're clearing trees. We've paid for the engineering out of most of the cost of that was engineering and permitting. So we did pay for that out of a combination of Chapter 90 and old capital funds that we had. And Environmental Partners did the engineering for us on this one. So it's been the public process and the engineering and permitting that's cost the money. So now that we're down to construction, they'll clear it, or he'll contract out to clear it, and we'll use Chapter 90 funds.
The Seashore is not contributing to it, other than land, right?
The Seashore is not contributing to
Well,
it.
is that East End, those are all paper roads back there.
Yeah,
so-
but they have been phenomenal partners because this one is a tricky one. So the Seashore is allowing us to build a road with a license. And that's a huge, big deal. They're not saying we have to do a land exchange prior to, and land exchange will take 5 to 7 years. So we still have to negotiate a land exchange with them of approximately I think it's an acre. The new road is an acre, so we'll have to do they'll take another piece of land. We're trying to get them to do it in the water district where the new water tower is going. Because that's already conservation land and it's within the Seashore Park, and so we're thinking that would be an easy trade. But we'll have to do a formal land exchange, but for right now, we're signing a license and they've permitted it, and we are gonna start clearing. So yeah, it's taken us 7 years to get to this point, but the house hasn't fallen into the ocean yet, so that's good.
Don't they own Cable Road? They plow
The
it.
Seashore? The Seashore,
It's on the right-hand side.
I don't know the
east
answer. No, the
side
They
Cable,
police
Of
it,
Three Sisters.
Yeah.
and they plow it. I
Cable
think.
Road?
Okay.
I just wondered if
Road,
they're
there's a
gonna
parking
own that
lot.
new road.
It
No,
goes
it's our
straight back
town road.
to that road
It's our
that's
town
on the
road.
other side. So there's all
And they own
series
Dome
of
Road, too.
paper roads.
and we're
that were
trading
created
some
when they
things, we're
moved the
gonna
lighthouse.
build, we're gonna build them a little bigger
This is
parking
actually a
lot
paper
for
road that's being
the
built.
Three Sisters during this construction
I see.
project.
Is
So
it
we're,
right near the Three Sisters?
yeah,
where you're gonna put it?
right near the Three Sisters, right past the Three Sisters
Yeah,
on the
It's
left.
just north of the east of the Three Sisters. And there'll be a parking lot also,
Yeah,
a small parking lot.
There's not much there now.
No, there's 3 spaces, I
Three
think,
spaces off the side.
which
Right on the road
which
there.
they're gonna keep, but they're gonna make a small parking area. I think it's for like about 5 cars,
yeah.
5 or 6 cars, right off to this, after you start in, right off to the side.
To prevent the pull-off, all the pulling off.
Yeah.
The plan is that they will be putting a fire gate across that current road, you know, the road that goes around from the
Around
the
lighthouses. There's gonna be a fire gate right opposite the fee station, okay? So that road won't be used anymore. And they're gonna take all the asphalt and everything, it's gonna become a gravel road. They're gonna take all that out when the new road is in, so the access to the back there will be through the new road.
Yeah.
But another road comes out, and eventually falls into the
It's
ocean.
complicated, we still have to move utilities and stuff, but it's a really, really good that it's moving forward to this point.
Well, your farm is bad. I should sometime.
Yeah, so,
So-
it's one of those engineering projects that's been around for so long that I just can't wait to erase it from my whiteboard. You know, it's like,
Looking around, okay, so The select board wants to meet with the police, fire, DPW, and the schools, which I think we would all agree. And I don't have any problem meeting with them in a joint meeting. I think that saves time from the police chief, fire chief, and so forth, having to come twice. Is there any other department, would you want to call Jane to talk to Jane on the project, Fred? Do you want to have
No.
her in or anything?
No, I think the material she gave us is pretty simple.
Pretty good. Yeah, I just had that one question, which I'll call her. I thought she was out till the 16th, so I'll find out.
And it might be faster to talk to Shayna, Natural Resources, so she's, you know, the ponds are
Oh, the
more her
ponds?
thing
Okay,
than
I'll
Jane's.
talk to, okay.
Jane
I'll talk
tests
to
the
Shane.
ponds, but she
She does,
maintains.
I'll talk to Shane. Any other department we might want to have in? I mean, we have Mike here all the time, so we have finance all the time, but, anything else? on that?
Finance all the time.
Finance all the time. Yeah, and how are we doing on our scoff laws, tax scoff laws? All right? Going after them?
It's been a great year for the
I-
tax
Listen,
scoff law
I'm great.
collections.
That's good, go after, go after them.
Do you have selection dates yet on these?
Any
No.
dates on
these
anything?
departments?
Yeah. we'll
I
get the
don't, I was
dates
gonna
and
work
try
on
to
it
get
this week.
Okay.
And, you know, I can try to do the reverse and schedule it for one of your meetings and make them come too. I mean, we can do both.
We're gonna try and go to Wednesdays, and we have that one meeting, but, so, I mean, we know we have more meetings during this
Yeah,
time, and we just
okay.
set it up, and I think we have enough people around so we can get 5 bodies here, so we should be. in good
And you know, those department heads are not gonna mind coming back to
shape.
talk
Come
to
out
you.
if I can. that's-
They really are. They know that, you know.
Let's see.
We've been warning Kent that you really wanna beat him up.
He's gonna come here to a wreck. He's gonna be a wreck.
He's
always a wreck. It's
He's always a wreck.
We would do those without the selectmen or with the selectmen? And if we could do fire, police,
With the select, with the
you wanna
select.
do it with the selectmen?
Well, I'm thinking we should try, but if we can't, they're fine coming to talk to you. I mean,
Unless, does
I don't
anyone have
think
an
that's a-
objection doing it,
No,
Joe?
no, it's just a matter of when it can get scheduled.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, the more we can get done in the next week or so, the better, but I don't know if that'll be possible.
I don't think that
That's
was.
gonna be hard.
The
Like-
selectmen
like
meetings, they
start
already
February.
have meetings on February 3rd, February 10th. Are you thinking you would
Yes,
do them like
that's what
piggyback
that
on
was
the days
last
they're gonna
night
meet
when we were talking
anyway?
about, that's what we were thinking. And perhaps adding a meeting on the 27th. Now, would that help you, Art, if I,
Don't worry about me,
okay,
We'll get
because I'm not gonna be here.
27th's too late?
No, I'm not gonna be here.
Can you
That's all right.
Skype in?
Maybe.
You can Skype
I
or-
like it when
one
you're on the
Skype, one
phone and we
call.
can hear you and your wife having cocktails in the background.
It's like, when I was on vacation here in the office, we'd call, I made sure I took the cell phone, and I went in the water so I could hear the wind.
Likes to torment us, especially during snowstorms.
Any,
So we're talking
Okay.
about February 3rd and February 10th?
well,
Maybe.
they'll let me know, and I'll send it around, and we'll see. if
And
we
when's
can get a
your
quorum,
meeting
we'll
in February?
go. The second Wednesday, which is
Would be
12th?
February,
12th, Lincoln's birthday.
So why don't I do some things for February 12th? I'll try and
That's good.
schedule something
All
for
right.
February 12th.
Are you
and
gonna ask the
I know.
select people to come here?
Maybe.
Well, on Wednesday, I think we might be able to get the Earl Mountain.
And we don't want to talk to the school until later, you're thinking?
Well, we could talk, we usually talk to the school, and we have Eastham and Nauset Region. We can talk to the principal in Eastham at any time.
Right.
He's-
Russ,
he's
when
ready.
do they usually vote the regional budgets?
The regional budget is usually done early.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't go to the meeting, I just went down and got these.
I can find
Yeah.
out when. I'll have
It's,
to
it's
work
just,
on it.
it was, you know, it would be
No, I know
nice
what
if we
you're
could go
saying,
later.
yeah.
It would be nice, but, you know, we got a lot of information, even before that meeting, so we can.
Jerry?
And I will warn you, there are gonna be a lot of articles. This is not the budget year, this is the year of the warrant.
Well, we're gonna have to go through, we'll go, and we don't know how many petitioned articles. Those are the ones that tend to take up most of our time.
Yeah, but you've got all kinds of new stuff.
Well, and then one is gonna be the school.
Reserve fund,
The school's gonna
enterprise
be a big
fund,
one.
school,
School's gonna be
The plastic bylaw.
plastics,
Plastics.
bottles,
plastics.
Could be a long time.
long.
How many warrant articles do you think there will be?
There's at least, I don't know, there's at least 35 on my board now. And that's not including the normal 15 or 20 we always have.
Over 50, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
And that doesn't
boy.
include any CPA articles.
Doesn't include any.
No.
Well, we don't have all that many seats.
No, we
There's
don't have
six.
that many
And there's
CPA.
talk about putting them all in one article like we have done and haven't done, so we can, but still kind of have to look at each one.
There's
All
an
right.
hand up behind you,
Sure.
Jerry.
Oh, yes,
While you're on the school, I'd just like to make a couple comments. For any of those of you, because it's a big thing coming up in the budget, that haven't had a chance to go through the Nauset Regional High School, I highly recommend that everybody that can do that, because it'll give you a real insight to what some of the issues are. Second thing, I was watching TV last night. I was going between the Bruins and the Celtics and the
Just to get college
football game, LSU Clemson. And I'm sitting there about 10:15, an advertisement came on, very slick, maybe 30 seconds. And it was the DY Advantage. And it was on the, obviously, choice situation. But they had a video on ESPN last night at about 10:15. And,
In the middle of a sports event?
I'm sorry?
In the middle of a sports event?
Yeah,
I mean, that would have to be an expensive ad.
well, I mean, it was a very slick ad, it was very well done. So, I mean, there was some cost going in on it, and obviously they were gonna have to pay something for it. So, just an idea that the choice is very important to other schools for, A, protecting themselves, or on a defensive thing to try to keep kids in the school, and offensive, try to get kids coming into the school. But it was a hell of an ad.
Yeah, thanks. Although, that's one of the questions we're gonna be looking at, is what's the cost of school choice? Cost or, and then what are the benefits of school choice?
Yeah, they're also on the radio a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're desperate, they're
on the radio
leaving
line.
students.
Yeah, we have from DY, from Yarmouth, we have 25. And from Dennis, we have 17, so from DY, we have
37.
42. All right, so,
22 times 5,000.
well, that's the middle school only. Geez, and the high school, it's higher. DY in Yarmouth is 86, Harwich is 77. So we have, from choice, we get, it's Chatham, Dennis, Harwich, Yarmouth. So, but, yeah, those are important numbers, and we're gonna look at them. We have a lot of questions on, and the high school just popped up the school choice, because you're building a school for 900 when you have 700 students, or in the town, 600 in the town, so those are issues. Anybody have anything else that they want to go preliminary in talking about the town budget with, for Jack?
I'll just
and
say,
or
it's
Mike?
a good budget, thank you.
Yeah, and I also think you did a good job with the select, you did
Stop it.
in a joint meeting, you did an excellent job in the presentation.
Thank you. Wasn't as boring as last year.
Any other Anything else? All right, then we'll go to the next thing. Anything that you would like to report outside of the budget, Jackie?
Well, it will be inside of the budget, but Mike just reminded me, you know, our union negotiations
Yes.
are going very well. We have tentative agreements with 4 out of 5 unions at this point, which is almost miraculous for this time of year. So everything's moving along.
Anything on the Nauset, anything new on Nauset Estuary?
Nauset Estuary, we had a joint meeting last night in Orleans. We are developing this new committee. I think they're calling it one of those wacky names like stakeholder groups or something like that, but to sort of lead towards permitting and making the decision about where the dredge would be. And so the selectmen will be appointing the representatives to that committee on February 3rd. And we do not have any town meeting numbers for that. It's not in the capital. There is money in the capital budget to do the Mark Borelli Center for Coastal Studies environmental studies of the estuary. That is earmarked at, I think I put $75,000 in the budget. The study takes more, but we have 26,000 left from the last time we did it, so we're just adding those two together. I'm trying to think of anything else that's, you know, we had the closure of Willie's Gym. That's an ongoing issue.
Permits issued yet?
Making some progress. Fire suppression repair permit was issued yesterday or today.
She's under the new regs, right? She's got to do domestic as well, right?
Yes.
Isn't there a meeting tomorrow night with the
Planning
planning
board?
board?
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
on a separate.
Yeah, she's, that's
that's
on
on
the
the-
storage
On the
facility.
storage facility?
Yeah, and I'm not sure they're coming or not yet, because they didn't, because there was some information that they hadn't gotten yet, so I didn't know whether Ben was gonna cancel that. Right now, as far as I know, they're coming. They did, she did supposedly go in and clean up the outside of the facility,
Okay.
all the complaints there, so. I had a question, I'm sorry I missed the police capital meeting.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we've got the contract or the whole bit, we're ready to go.
We're under contract. We got the signed contract back today, ready to go. This particular contractor does not want to begin any construction until all materials are on the site. He's very meticulous about that. So there will be a little bit of lead time while we get all the, especially the tile, together, and then he'll start demo and construction.
Does that include the lockers and everything? In terms
The
of
lockers
material
are
on
coming
site?
separately and they'll be installed separately, but yeah, the lockers may arrive sooner. But we're on schedule and, within budget. Excellent, on all our capital
I got a
projects.
Willie's question. Are they current on taxes?
Yes,
Yes.
you have, to-
You talking about
because
real
we
estate
passed
taxes?
that article at town meeting in 2018, you have to be current on taxes before we will issue a permit.
Right.
And that has helped us with revenue, with all year long. I mean,
That's good.
it's been a struggle, but it's been great.
Especially the sticker front.
Especially, with beach stickers and,
Yeah, well, listen.
people get more upset about losing their beach
These
stickers than they
they're
do about
paying the
permits.
taxes. Well, you know, it's funny, you owe the taxes, I mean, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
I don't know any taxes, what are you putting
You
me
do.
for?
You-
I pay my taxes. I'm not a
I just
scofflaw.
went like this, that's all. You're the Italian, you're Italian close to arms?
I thought you were implying.
No, I wasn't, oh, okay, I feel.
And our new
Okay.
treasurer is really enjoying her role as the collector.
As the collector?
She keeps reporting things to me. I just got $18,000 more dollars.
That's good.
So that $130,000 check, though, was a pretty big coup.
That's good, that's great, we look.
I do have one more, Neil Andrus.
Okay.
Congratulations, sir. He fought me tooth and nail on CMAS versus ABC, and I have to say that he was right and I was wrong.
Yeah.
We see what happened to Orleans in terms of the cost of getting rid of this stuff.
Yeah. Some things are kind of in the wind, and these guys are out there and they know things better. but I
Well, they
think,
built the facility, which,
yeah.
but the market for the product dried up.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
We'll have lots of discussion with Silvio on recyclables, because it's a total change.
He likes to talk about.
I know he does. He grabbed me the other meeting, talked to me.
Mattresses. He has the
Yeah,
whole
well,
mattress.
He's the mattress king.
The mattress recycler of the state of Massachusetts. It's a kingdom now.
And we'll do a better job with the plastics next year, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get this. Anything else, Jackie, or anybody have any questions for Jackie? New business, the one thing I didn't do, you want any report on Rock Harbor, anything new,
Only that we've issued a request for qualifications, is what it's called. You can't just go with bid and have qualified bidders bid and make an award. You have to do this preliminary
request for
step,
qualification?
or whatever, which is,
So we're
that
doing
was a new one
And that
to me,
has been
but that's what we're doing.
the most competitive bid process we've had in years. So we've had at least 35 requests for,
Oh, my
Oh,
God.
really?
I don't know why.
Do any of them do water?
It's kind of crazy.
Good question.
You just don't know, like, what the thing is gonna be, but yeah. Engineers, designers, they're all on it.
Okay. Any-
Has the 4790 committee met?
Oh, yes, once, and we meet again next week.
Tea time?
Tita?
We've got, I got,
Is that what
I
we
don't
call
think-
it?
yeah. Look
Well,
at-
the
I know they call it the tea time.
4790
the
committee, right?
select board hated that name, so they changed it back to tea time.
Oh, okay.
I was saying, I
Okay.
don't remember the 4790.
Because I read the
Are
charge,
you
the
gonna
charge
get good
says
mood?
4790.
Yeah.
Are you gonna tear down
I'm
the
sorry?
building?
What's 4790?
Yes.
So the
So
address,
Silvio is very frustrated about that. We're still waiting to hear from Eversource. Honestly, it's not a huge thing. Is there power live at the building or not? That's the only thing we're waiting, and we've been waiting for, I don't know, 3 months now.
Yeah, it's-
They say they have to send someone out, and so he calls them once a week.
They're parking the vendors' trucks there for 3 months.
Yeah.
are you talking about the building in front of the
Yeah,
tea time?
so it's
Yeah.
asbestos free, we tested it, and
Oh,
now
that's
we're waiting to see if the power's connected. If it's not, we're gonna just tear it down, and then we'll be able to clear the site a little bit and make it look more attractive.
Which building is this?
Tea time.
The tea time.
Oh.
Yeah, I wanted to do a match, but that's, they don't.
We thought about that, but Ken said.
Yeah, well, I said, they used to
Ken
burn
doesn't
down
want
the
to
I
buildings.
said, no, we gotta
The
ask
fire-
him
the
about
fire
that. There were
department have
rules.
a-
There are a lot of rules,
There are a lot of rules. We got all excited.
We just kind of were like, yeah, no, we won't.
Oh, dear.
Maybe get Dave Prairie.
But in the old days, they used to do that.
They just
Yeah.
burn it in practice. It needs to be a
Practice.
practice.
That's
When I was
what
tearing my
the
house down,
seashore
they
burns
called
them
me.
down.
See?
And said, you know, we'd like
we
to
use it?
consider, you know, would you allow us to go in and,
Burn it down.
well, actually, it was to go in and do some forced entries. I don't think, they say
Oh.
they can't burn it anymore or something. To do
Like
some
take a
forced-
hatchet to
Yeah,
your
tell me
door.
how you break down the doors and how you get into the building, et cetera. And I said, yeah, but then they decided they didn't need it, they found somebody else.
With less strong doors, maybe.
Who knows? Anyway, any other new business anyone wants to raise? Okay, well, thank you all for coming
Thank you.
tonight, and we will be, you know, our crunch time's here, and we'll work out the schedules and get it set. Do I hear a motion to
Make a
adjourn?
motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? None. We're adjourned.
Again, I will say.